Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out RV Daydream, and Heidi's taking over.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
Today we're going to Indiana. We'll be staying in Millersburg, Indiana. Tomorrow we'll be heading to the Rockwood plant. So hopefully it will be uneventful because I'm driving. I'm gonna kind of be controlling all the video for the next couple days. Michael is not well. We actually probably should be staying home. Hopefully he'll feel better tomorrow, or at least act like it. We're staying at the hotel tonight, the Hampton. It's about 4.5 hours to where our destination at the Rockwood plant. So we decided that we're going to go up today and stay overnight because we have to be at the plant in the morning, in between 8 and 8:30. We're meeting Anthony, the tour guide, to tour the Rockwood plant and see our 2604 WS, which is already built. It was built 2 days ago, so it'll be sitting out in their lot for us to go over. When we get to the Rockwood plant, what we get to watch being built is a 2606, which is similar to ours, about the same length. Obviously it's a little different, but it's similar. And hopefully we'll get to see a lot of the build tomorrow. Not sure how much of the inside the plant, if any, we'll be able to video.
4 hours later.
Well, we made it to Middlebury, Indiana, and getting ready to go to our hotel room. You can maybe see all the RVs that are around. We passed a whole bunch when we get off the turnpike. Poor thing's sweating.
Turn right on Hampton Inn.
Arriving at Hampton Inn Suites Middlebury on the right.
This morning we're going to Millersburg, Indiana, and we're going to the Rockwood plant to see a build, like we said yesterday. We also should be able to see our new unit, as it was done a few days ago. So hopefully we'll be able to videotape that.
In 300 feet, turn left on Crystal Heights Boulevard, then turn left. Turn left on Crystal Heights Boulevard, then turn left on Indiana 13.
Right now we're right across the street from the Jayco plant. Might be the headquarters.
In 400 feet, turn left on South Main Street. Turn left on South Main Street.
Actually, when I was driving
Turn
yesterday, it
left on
looks
Indiana
like it
13.
takes a whole block up.
Turn right on Elm Street.
Yeah, don't cut it too short.
Nice little neighborhood, though. Reminds me of the neighborhoods like you grew up in.
In a quarter of a mile, you'll arrive at 201 Elm Street.
Morning YouTube. I'm not feeling very well still, so I don't know how much talking I'm going to be able to do. We made it to the Rockwood plant, you can see here. Heidi did all the driving and navigating and everything else, because I'm pretty much worthless with this cold. One thing I'll have to say is there's a couple things you should be aware of whenever you come here. Let me spin you guys around. It's very unassuming. This is a neighborhood that you're going to drive through to get here. And it's real easy to get through here, but if you're coming early, there's a lot of horse and buggy on the road. This is an Amish community, and I mean, I don't know how many tractors and buggies we passed, but there was quite a few. But it's a very, very nice, quiet neighborhood, so don't come flying down through the streets or anything. The other thing to be aware of is, wow, you know, one of the things that you got to think of is if they're putting out, you know, 20 units a day, which I don't know how many they're doing, but I'm assuming it's at least 20. They're having, you know, many sets of stairs, which we just saw a complete truckload full of the steps, the Morride steps being delivered. And as far as the components that are needed to make 20 trailers, you know, think about how many tires and rims and everything else that has to go on 20 trailers just for one day, So yeah, this is the entrance. It's 201 Elm Street. The gentleman we're supposed to meet in here is Anthony Yoder. He's expecting us, so we're going to go ahead and head that way. All right, so apparently the tour doesn't happen here. This is where you'll meet up, and then in this case we could have rode over with him, it sounded like, or in this case he just said follow him over, and it's just down the street. We actually passed it on the way in. Of course, being that it's a Rockwood plant, it's not like it, you know, the location's going to be real small. It's sprawling, so it covers quite a bit of area. And we did pass a big section of I don't know, acreage that had Rockwood and Flagstaff products on it. So I'm assuming that's where we're heading back. I just want,
Right.
so it reminds me. All right, so we're heading into the plant, and you can see, obviously, this is where all the Rockwoods and ultralights are. And there's a lot of them. Now, like he had said to us, we'll tell you guys, if you do come over here to check out the units, hopefully you didn't wash your vehicle. Which in our case, our truck was pretty dirty from the ride because it rained a considerable amount of the time. There's a lot of units out here.
Bring my car.
You can see here off to the right some roofs already fabricated. Wow, they're thick. Oh my God, I should have taken pictures of it. You're good. Well, I thought I was having a little fit there whenever we were standing at that desk. I had to rub my neck. I don't know what was going on. I had to start getting lightheaded and spacey. No, I don't think it was that. I think it's just because I was standing so long. It's mostly I've been standing the last 4 days.
It's true.
This is a good company. They got an old Rockwood over there. Look at that truck that's sitting there. It's weird. 676. Is that what he said? How does he? How does he know? He barely got close to the one. He knew it. Oh, these are white. Oh, I must have found it.
Yeah, 676 right here.
All right, guys, so this is our RV. It's tucked away here. You can see we'll do a walk around real quick. Awning toppers. These are the thermopane windows. They are thicker than the standard window, which I don't know much about the standard windows and how they differ, but apparently they're different. I don't get it. I don't see how they're thicker, but they do add some weight. Every window on here is thermopane, even the one in the slide out. That's the sliding ones. Well, this bumper's a lot more solid than I thought. Yeah, this is really cool that this is our RV and we're seeing us here. You know, I'm seeing it here in person. Oh, this cold is killing me, so I just wanted to show you guys basically what it is, what it looks like. Man, this is so cool. Can't wait.
4 hours later.
Well, guys, we made it back home. Nothing exciting on the way, but yeah, can you believe this? It snowed when we got back. Oh well. Let's talk about that whole trip. All right, so we're back a couple days later. The snow's kind of stopped. My cold has not stopped. It's still in me. So you heard me kind of cough and hack a little bit. Just ignore that. We want to try to give you a summary, though, of what's going on with that tour and, you know, what you just saw. I don't know how else to tell you, but just to tell you, you need to go schedule that plant tour. The reason is it's not like a Disney attraction where you can sit on a cart and they will point out what's going on. You're walking through a plant that is busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. You got to watch your back, although it's not unsafe.
No.
But there's a lot of people moving around doing a lot of stuff. It's very loud in some areas, and you could just tell they're getting a job done. I mean, it's kind of like if you walked into your mechanic and you tried to capture video of him rebuilding it, you know, your diesel engine in your truck. You know, there's only so much you're going to be able to capture. Well, they don't have a problem. He mentioned at the beginning of the tour, Anthony is who I'm talking about, mentioned at the beginning of the tour, and all his contact information is going to be down below. He wants to give you a tour. He's told us clearly to give you his information because he likes giving tours. And I understand why, because that place sells itself. As soon as you get in there, you're going to see a lot of what looks like chaos to the untrained eye. But I'm telling you, as
It's organized.
a mechanic on my end, and you see my garage, there's a method to that madness, and there's a method to their madness as far as getting stuff done. But I always wondered why nobody ever captured it, and I understand why now, because they're just really busy. And I was really impressed with every single thing I saw in there. There was nothing that I'm like, oh, I don't think I would do that, or that don't seem right. None of that goes on. I mean, everything that's going on in there, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, wow, that guy's... And they move fast.
They do move fast. Each station has probably 2 to 5 people working it, and they just work real well together. They know what they're supposed to be doing, and they do it. They get it done. Like that tape guy, he said, I want to say over 6 rolls, he said, of tape a day, that make sure that they knew he was doing his job.
What she's talking about is this guy has this little thin roll of tape. It's a big roll,
Yeah.
but it's real skinny, and it's red tape. And his whole job is to find the mistakes, and for those mistakes to be corrected by the team that created it, which is really cool. If you got a guy that's at the beginning of the line that's screwing up, he screwed up something on a water tank, guess who gets to fix the water tank? The guy that screwed it up. Or if somebody put a cabinet in wrong, the guy that put the cabinet in wrong, he's got to fix it. And that's all done at the end. They have a separate bay that's just for those repairs. And he said, we do whatever. He says, we will do whatever it takes, Anthony was telling us, to fix the error. He said, we will take and disassemble a trailer and reassemble it to fix a problem that we have done wrong. And anyways, getting back to the tape guy, he puts little pieces of tape wherever he finds mistakes. Now, Heidi and I had walked through a unit, and it was funny because Anthony was very adamant about trying to get us into a unit that was being marked by this tape guy for mistakes. And the first one we walked into, Anthony says, oh, well, we can't go into this one. He goes, they're too fast. They've already corrected most of this stuff. And then we went backwards one unit and walked in, and there was the guy in there with the tape, and there was red tape everywhere. He had red tape. I mean, this one, it just seemed like as soon as you walked in the door, there was red tape in all these different spots. Okay, so now you're probably thinking what I'm doing. Boy, man, look at that thing's a disaster. There's so many mistakes in here. He puts pieces of red tape. If this one little monitor that was way down low near the floor.
I think it was like carbon
monoxide detector.
Yeah.
It was slightly turned. I mean, it was just a little turn to it. You could barely tell, but he had tape on it. They were fixing it. And that's one of the things that I want you guys to take away with having Amish craftsmen build your RV. These guys are, the Amish community is known for their woodwork. And you're probably thinking, yeah, but I don't need, trained cabinet makers to bolt together, my RV. Well, think about this. If you went to Walmart and you were buying a bicycle that was assembled by Walmart, would you rather have some stock boy that, is home from college, is just trying to earn some extra Christmas money, working in the back, probably drinking too much on the weekends, come in and assemble your bicycle for you? I mean, he might get it right. They trained him. He just, assembled 5 other bicycles. Or would you rather have a mechanic that knew everything about mechanics, not just bike mechanics, but mechanics in general, and lubrication and torque, and understand all those things, and when things go together the right way, and how metal should rub and feel, whenever it's bolted together the right way? Would you rather have that kind of a guy putting together your bicycle? Well, it's the same with out there. I mean, these guys are putting together cabinets that are pretty much prefabricated, and they're already pre-drilled. It's not like they're building them by hand or anything there. However, those guys know how wood's supposed to feel, and what's too tight and what's not tight enough, and what's too big of a gap and what's too small of a gap, and what's going to be a problem when, moisture, expansion, all that stuff that you got to worry about wood, and creaks coming on at some point.
I think they may build those cabinets.
Yeah, they do build these cabinets.
And they're all wood.
Yeah, they are all wood cabinets, too. They're not...
top and bottom.
Yeah, top and bottom. Like in our RV, that's an industry standard they're still doing out there, which Rockwood doesn't. And that is, as far as hardwood, our Terry camper that we got, we didn't find out until we had it all tore apart and Heidi was painting it, that all the cabinets that were at eye level and easy to see and touch, those were all real wood. But all the crap down at the floor, that's all that pressed board. Mm-hmm. We had no idea until again we tore it apart. Well, in this case, they're all of them are wood. The other thing that was really cool was the aluminum framing that was everywhere. That aluminum frame is everywhere. Some of the other things that I found out in the tour that I thought was really cool was he had mentioned that the rear wall of the Rockwoods, the ultralights, have been Asdale. They've been putting Asdale in that back wall. for a couple of years. They don't advertise it. They said because, the only reason Luon's an issue is if there's leaks, and they just don't have leaks. It's one of those things. They're not known for leaks. The other thing they are known for, though, is that vacuum laminate, and I can't believe how solid everything is. Everything, every wall, the slides. I mean, even the slide just standing out on its own on the floor. It's got that laminate wall, and it's just sturdy. It's just really, really sturdy. It's amazing that those things are as tight and as solid as they are before they even get put together. The other thing that we found out, which was really cool, was our heated pads for the heated tanks. He had told us that the underside of the RV has got coroplast. It's not a 0 degree or 4-season RV or nothing like that. He said, but there is a coroplast there that's for the underside protection of the RV and for aerodynamics when you're towing. And as far as a heat duct, there is one duct that will heat that area, but having the electric pads on the tanks does that much better of a job. They heat, exactly what needs to be heated, whenever there's water in there. And he said the other thing is they vent. They actually vent the undersides, which a lot of RV people don't do this. They don't vent that whole area. And he says, just like you would think, in the summer, with cold water in a holding tank, things sweat.
Get a lot
he
of
says
moisture.
there's a lot of moisture in there. And he says there's a lot of RV manufacturers that don't vent that, and they kind of hope that it just goes away somehow. Well, they vent theirs. They make sure that moisture gets out of there. But getting back to the electric heating pad, they also, which I didn't know this, when you order the electric tanks, heated tanks, they also give you these little pads that go in all the valves, and it heats the valves too, which I did not know that. So that's a plus. That'll hopefully keep things from freezing up if we ever get stuck. And as far as watching them put together all this stuff in their stations, those guys know what they're doing, and they're getting it done. And if there's a mistake, again, the team that made the mistake has to fix it. And it's just it's a matter of pride. They have, some sort of incentives as far as getting good quality coming out of the plant, monetized incentives, but they also have kind of a pride thing, and they kind of compete with each other of, who's better than the other plant. The plants are competing with each other to outdo each other as far as how good of the units that are being built and not coming back. It was just very, very good to see. What did you take away from it?
Well, they are very organized in what they do. It's pretty cool that they all have their jobs and getting the jobs done, and the completion part and how they pressurize that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And finding the leaks and addressing those then. They do a PDI.
Yeah, that was something else too. There's one unit that gets picked out for the day, which they do anywhere from, depending on what unit it is, because something without a slide is a little bit easier to make than something with a slide. But like a slide unit, they do, like that day, they were doing 26 units that day. And they've done up to 44 was their highest on a non-slide unit.
Small.
Yeah, and it was a smaller one too. But the PDI that they have is done on a corporate level, and there's only one person that knows which unit it is. And that's a big secret. So everybody doesn't all of a sudden say, oh, this is the one they're going to be checking, let's fix this one up. So they make sure that all their units are done as best quality. And he says as far as the plant then, Forest River does this inspection for, all of the plants. And basically they pick one trailer randomly and they check it. And they said that they have been in the top 5 of all the Rockwood plants, and actually the plant we went through had been the top number 1 for quite a few times now. And some of the stuff they brag about, They can't even keep track now. It's been over 10,000 units. They don't know the number. They forgot. It's been over 10,000 units. Just something as simple as the guy that hooks up the finished unit and takes it out and puts it in a row of a ton of units that are ready to go. He drags them all the way out into this parking area. They pull it in line. They've got them all marked off to, keep them looking organized, to make it look a little bit more neat. And that guy has been not had a dent, a scratch, a bump, a drop, or anything for over 10,000 units whenever he takes it out there, because that's how his job is looked at. As far as quality, he's make sure that those don't get scratched. Like I said, dented, no dents, no drops, nothing, to take it out there and get it parked until it's ready to be picked up. So there's a lot of things like that in that plant. And they seem to be enjoying their job. They're in there singing.
Yeah.
The guys are just singing. I mean, they're, it's not like they have a radio playing in there. But yeah, that's something we want to just let you know, that we wanted to try to capture that stuff as much as possible on film, but you can't. I mean, it took me 5 minutes getting inside there and realizing there was no way I was going to be able to capture everything that was going on. And
you'd have to spend a day in there.
Filming wise, you would have to, that's right, you would have to basically have all those guys just stand there and wait for you. And you explain every aspect of what's going on. That's the only way.
It moves so fast.
They do move fast. No, not unsafe. I don't think they're unsafe at all.
No, it's just they
didn't look unsafe. Not a single person in there.
They were courteous of each other.
Of us?
Of us, yeah. They paid attention. They were careful. Yeah.
Yeah, and they all kid around with each other. That was kind of funny. But they all take pride in what they're doing there, that's for sure. You could just tell. Again, take the tour. All the information's down below. We're closing out this video because I can barely talk anymore.
So as always, hope to see you out there. Bye.
Bye.